Black lives? Matter! Black lives? Matter! One more time. Black lives? Matter! All right. Thank you all for coming out. It feels good to be a part of history. The two towns coming together this way in unity, solidarity. That's what this event is all about. Family-friendly event. Cute kid right in the front. And
take a picture.
I really, and I can't say this enough, I really am honored and I appreciate everybody coming out. When the Vice Mayor and I first talked about just sort of getting everybody together between the two towns, and the way it came together has been nothing short of, I would say, amazing. In a short amount of time, we've been able to put it together. So round of applause.
North Brentwood was for the blacks, the black community. Brentwood was for the white community. We remember this well because we stayed in our own area. That's what we did, stayed in our own. But can you imagine that less than half a mile, we were talking about the civil rights movement, about the white drinking fountains, the black drinking fountains. But we weren't privy of that. I don't know, I think our parents sheltered us.
Your money pays to kill my brothers and sisters every single day. Your money pays to execute. Your money helps embolden police officers that shouldn't be on the force to be like overseers on a plantation. Okay? All the economic injustice that we have, we're on a plantation, it's just a different setting. So whether we're talking about police brutality, minimum wage, housing, it is all to oppress people of color. Melanin doesn't make you any different. Whether you're Latinx, you're Asian, you're black, we all have melanin. It makes us no different than anyone else. And I want to be in a country that my children are going to be treated just like everywhere else.
Yes.
I want to be in a state that my brother, like a lot of the men here, over 6 foot, he's going to be mad, over 200 pounds, is not a threat but a person.
And I hope that we don't have to keep coming back with new hashtags, saying new names to commemorate the same issue that we've had for a very long time. I want you to look at some of these signs and really read them, because these messages, they're so important fundamentally, that if you are silent when you see something happening, that you're just as in the wrong as individuals who are doing the actual act. So if you have privilege, if you have authority, if you can do something to look out for somebody who has less than, it's incumbent upon you that you do that for this entire community so that we can all know that this is a safe space.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter! When I say George, you say Floyd! George! Floyd! George! Floyd! George! Floyd! George! Floyd! When I say Brianna, you say Taylor! Brianna! 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 Brianna!
All right.
When I say black laws, you say matter. Black laws.
Welcome. My name is Jessica Smith-Hebron. I am the interim executive director here at the Prince George's African American Museum and Cultural Center. Welcome home to our museum.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to read this proclamation in partnership with North Brentwood. Proclamation 2020, Black Lives Matter 01, Reaching the Brentwoods, dated June 23, 2020, whereas the town of Brentwood and the town of North Brentwood was founded by Captain Wallace Bartlett, a white captain in the Civil War. And whereas Captain Bartlett gave the higher ground to the white soldiers of the regiment and called it Brentwood, and he gave the lower level ground prone to flooring to the black soldiers and called it North Brentwood. And whereas in the early 1950s, a barrier was placed to show that Brentwood needed separation from blacks. At that time, the town of Brentwood was sundown town and did not allow blacks in their neighborhood after dark. And whereas the town of Brentwood was incorporated in 1922, and the town of North Brentwood was incorporated as the first black incorporated town in Prince George's County. And whereas integration of school was implemented in 1963 and blacks were forced to go to the white schools, and whereas since integration, blacks and whites have their uncertainties and both good and bad experiences, even between the towns of Brentwood and North Brentwood. I'm going to pass it on to Mary Robinson.
And whereas in 2015, the Black Lives Matter movement was started due to the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore, Maryland, and since then, there has been excessive killings of black men and women by the hands of police. And whereas the Black Lives Matter movement is to eradicate police brutality and injustice and to intervene in violence inflicted on black communities by the state and vigilantes, and whereas at this location, the Prince George's African American Museum and Cultural Center tells the story of communities in Prince George's County, and whereas Brentwood and North Brentwood are committed to work together to eliminate police brutality, systemic racism, injustices, and health disparities of both towns, and whereas Brentwood and North Brentwood stand together today to bridge the gap in our communities, strengthen relations by working collectively and responsibly for all our citizens and human beings, and now therefore it is hereby proclaimed that the town stand together to assure that all have the right to live in dignity, respect, and peace. And it is further proclaimed that we urge all to rededicate themselves to the principles of justice and equality for all.
In 1991, 28 years ago, my father, a black man, unarmed, in his own front yard, was shot in the back 10 times by Prince George's County police officers. At home. My big brother in the house, my grandmother at home, and they had to see that. Unjustly, out of nowhere, minding his own business, and my mom was 7 months pregnant with me. So it's different for each of my siblings. They got a little bit of time. I had no time, but the fact still remains that we grew up without a dad. We don't get to say Happy Father's Day. We don't get to make our own judgment about him. And I've heard wonderful things, but I want to know that for myself, and I don't have that opportunity. And, whew.
Take your time, take your time.
I just want y'all to know enough is enough.
Yes, it is.
I am sick and tired of seeing and hearing of our beautiful black men and women gunned down, shot, beat, chokehold. It's enough is enough. On behalf of the Prince George's African American Museum and Cultural Center, we honor and exalt the lives of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and every other black brother or sister who has lost their lives senselessly to injustices. Their lives were and still were very precious. They still are very precious, valuable, and most importantly, everyone say, irreplaceable. The lives of these innocent black people were more than just mattered, and their last breaths will not be in vain. We pledge to continue to breathe for them through social change initiatives just like this one, and we thank the town of Brentwood and the town of North Brentwood for inviting us to be a part of this. Let us march on until victory is won. We breathe for our brothers. Say their names.
Won't you say their names?
We breathe for our sisters. Say their names. We breathe for our brothers. Say their names.
Won't you say their names?
We breathe for our sisters. Say their names.
Won't you
Say
say
their
their
name.
name?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Say his name.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Say his name.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Say his name.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Won't you say his name?
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Won't you say her name?
Breonna Taylor. George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Would you say his name?
George Floyd.